Brilliance Activator, and I'd like to welcome you to the 5th episode of the 7 Lemons of Leadership. Today's episode deals with poor economics. So this is our 5th lemon, poor economics. And in order to understand a little bit how this all fits together, let's take a look at the word economics. Economics comes from the ancient Greek oikonomia, and what oikonomia means is household management. Economics was wrapped up with the idea of ensuring that one's farm was sustainable. And it was considered disdainful in ancient Greece to actually work on your own farm if you were a person of wealth. So what one would do is one would hire a steward. And what the steward would be responsible for is ensuring that there was enough seed for next year's planting, ensure that the harvest was successful and that there was enough food stored for the non-productive months, that the animals were cared for and tended to, that help was hired and taken care of, fired if necessary. There was a significant amount of responsibility that was tied up with being a steward of a farm. So economics, from its earliest days, is wrapped up with the notion of stewardship, with taking care of things, with sustainability. It's interesting also to note that in early agriculture and for much of human history, we were only able to produce enough to sustain the people who lived on or near the farm. There wasn't a lot of excess. And because there was not a lot of excess, there wasn't much to sell, and hence there was not a lot of external wealth besides one's own survival that came from running a farm. As we became more productive, as people started living in cities and needed more food and farms grew, the whole notion of agriculture and stewardship shifted, and so did the notion of economics. In the 1600s, economics now became a branch of knowledge concerned with production, consumption, and transfer. There's the big term, transfer of wealth. We were now able to trade some of the excess goods for other commodities, for other necessities. And trade and business started to grow, and the whole notion of economics began to grow as well. However, in the 1970s, people like Milton Friedman, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, and the great CEO Jack Welch started to narrow the look of economics to not be concerned with things beyond monetary wealth. That was their main focus. So to them, economics dealt with monetary wealth. And therein lies some problems. It is, for example, an area where things can go sour. Here's why. In earlier episodes of the 7 Lemons, we talked about the main function of a leader being a person who is able to take the purpose of an organization, to take its values, its purpose, its mission, and transfer that to a team so that the team's values and purpose became engaged with that of the organization. It's when a group of people are working together towards common purpose that great things happen. But our purpose is not just to build teams that are willing to do what it is we ask them to do. Leadership engages a team in order to produce value for customers. What we do is we take a service or a product and we align that product and service with the values and purposes and needs of a customer. And now we have a very healthy triangle where the organization builds teams, the teams build products, the products create consumer loyalty that helps the organization be sustainable. And we are all stewards, if you will, of a very sustainable, value-driven organization. Where things go sour is when the organization starts to look at the team not as an asset, but as a liability. and no longer cares really what happens to the team. If we can produce things by robots, if we can produce things by shipping it overseas, if we can produce things in any means besides having our employees, if it's cheaper and produces more profits, then let's do it. And if that's the attitude, then we lose the loyalty of the team. And it is the delivery that the team provides of goods and services. It is the quality that the team puts into the goods and services because of their value alignment with the organization. Once that is gone, customers sense the lack of quality and they start to question it. They start to experience dismal delivery of goods and services, and soon the customers leave. And interestingly, the organization, unlike the farms of ancient Greece or of recent times, is not sustainable by itself. And this is where we get poor economics. And poor economics is the fifth lemon of leadership. We have to ensure that this type of decay does not happen in our own organizations, where we lose the loyalty of the team and the loyalty of our customers. We need to have a broader look of what economics means. It's not just the increase of value for shareholders. It's the increase of value for all the stakeholders, and that includes customers, the team, and the managers of an organization as well. Thank you for listening.